Welcome to Travel with Danny and MJ.
I'm Mary Jane.
And I'm Danny. We're traveling the world with just carry-ons and a backpack each.
Welcome to Rome. This video is going to be about some of the ancient sites that we saw in the magnificent city of Rome. The history is amazing. The food, this video doesn't talk about the food, but you can imagine that all the food is great. And everywhere we went, we'd say, oh, there's some old stuff. There's some old stuff. There's some really old stuff.
There was so much in Rome that we've split it over a couple of videos, but you're going to see this one. It's ancient Rome, so we're going to see all of the ancient sites. We bought a pass called Go City that got us into places like the Colosseum and St. Peter's and other the Forum, and it saved us some money and it made it easier to get around.
Right, and all the tickets that we bought there were skip the line. Didn't necessarily come with a tour, but they were skip the line. So highly recommend that if you're there for a while and you're going to see a bunch of sites.
So just strolling through Rome here, and we come upon the Circus Maximus. This is the massive grounds of the Circus Massimo, or the Circus Maximus in English. This was a sports arena, primarily for chariot races. Could hold 150,000 spectators. Built in the 6th century BCE, was built by Julius Caesar in the 1st century BCE. Magnificent final restoration or renovation was in the 4th century CE or AD. It's mostly a public park. This part seems to be what they call the Circus Maximus experience right in front of us, where you can pay and people have kind of virtual reality devices. They can see what it looked like way back when. And this is the Circus Maximo, Circo Massimo, at twilight in the early evening.
So the Colosseum, wow, it's really incredible. The sheer size is really shocking, and like you kind of feel like you could imagine the gladiators out there and the animals coming up and the fight scenes in the middle of everything. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. It was very crowded, but it's definitely worth it to go to
Yeah.
the Colosseum. It's a kind of a must do when you go to Rome.
Right. All of the sites, and we do tourist things, and they're crowded, but I don't think we've ever been anywhere that we said, it's not really worth the crowd, because they are awesome sites full of history and culture that we don't want to miss. So that's why we recommend them.
There is the Colosseum of Rome, the Arch of Constantine, and the Roman Forum over there. Another one of the 7 wonders of the world for us to knock off the list. We're in the Colosseum. Crowds are crazy, but pretty cool place. This thing was built in the late 1st century. It took only 5 years to build the whole thing. It is about 150 feet tall. It's got 3 levels, 80 arches around each level. Ground level, the arches are entrances. And the upper levels are more for decorative and purposes. So you can see the sub-level of the Colosseum there, where they would stage things. They could even apparently fill it with water and have mock naval battles in here, reenact them. You could bring animals up from underneath. The gladiators would come in. So it was kind of like full structure beneath the floor of the Colosseum itself. Worker doing restoration. I guess the restoration here is ongoing. This is the view over to the Forum from the Colosseum. So now we're down on the level where the performances would happen. You can really see to the subterranean levels where everything would have been organized and readied. It's multi-story down there. Only the performance field stage would have been visible for events. The side view of the lower level. This is what it would look like looking up from the performance floor, more or less.
Don't forget to give the thumbs up or thumbs down to decide the fate of the gladiator like an emperor would do.
It's the Arch of Constantine Colosseum. About, I don't know, 8:20 at night or so.
The Forum is pretty cool too. You can just imagine the people walking through the streets and the vendors and the government buildings that were there, and everyday life kind of really taking place in that center part of town.
You're entering the Roman Forum.
The Roman Forum was the center of political, religious, and commercial life in ancient Rome. Located in the valley between the Palatine and Capitoline hills, it was a bustling hub for public speeches, processions, markets, and government affairs.
Pretty amazing place, 2,000 years old.
Originally a marshy area, it was drained using the Circus Maximus, which is a very famous sewer system. The Forum became the main public square, hosting early temples, markets, and political gatherings.
So this is the Imperial Ramp. It was built in the 2nd century BC, I believe by Hadrian.
From the 5th to 1st centuries BC, the Forum grew into the political heart of Rome. Important structures were built, including the Senate House and the Speaker's Platform, and major temples like the Temple of Saturn and the Temple of Castor and Pollux were constructed. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century, the Forum was abandoned. Many buildings were quarried for stone, and the area was eventually buried under centuries of debris. Excavations began in the 19th century, led by Italian archaeologists, and continue today.
Found this cool spot overlooking the Forum. Got a great view of the whole place. At least a lot of it. Colosseum out in the background. Now we're at the Roman Forum at night. Trajan's column over there. And this is called Trajan's Forum, which they are, I guess, restoring at the moment.
This is the Theater of Marcellus. It's an ancient Roman theater. It was initiated by Julius Caesar and completed by Augustus around 13 BC, who dedicated it to the memory of his nephew and heir, Claudius Marcellus, and it held 15,000 spectators. It's similar to the Colosseum with a facade of 3 levels that featured Doric and Ionic columns, and it hosted theatrical performances, musical events, and public gatherings. In the Middle Ages, it was converted into a fortress by noble families. Then during the Renaissance, the Savelli family transformed it into a private residence. And today, the upper part houses private apartments, while the lower part is still the original Roman structure.
We've seen the Teatro Marcello, I think it's Marcello, from the other side. There's a little bit more of the Teatro from this side.
This is the Pantheon. It's one of the most iconic and well-preserved buildings of ancient Rome. It was originally built in around 27 BC by Marcus Agrippa and rebuilt by Emperor Hadrian around 125 AD. And it was originally a temple for all Roman gods, because Pantheon means all gods in Greek. It was later converted into a Christian church in the 7th century. The dome of the Pantheon is one of the greatest architectural achievements of the ancient world. It is 142 feet, 43.3 meters in diameter. The height is the same from the floor to the oculus, meaning it would form a perfect sphere if extended downward. And it was one of the largest domes in the world for over 1,300 years. The most crazy thing is that it's the largest unreinforced concrete dome.
The dome with the oculus at the top was also designed as a kind of a sundial. So the ray of light that creates this circle on the wall moves with the sun and will align with different points in the Pantheon throughout the day, depending on the time of year, to create that effect of a sundial. It's also the resting place, the final resting place of many illustrious Italian and Roman people. The artist Raphael is buried here. Other artists, a couple of emperors and queens are also buried here. Vittorio Emanuele, who was the first emperor, or first king, I should say, of Italy, of United Italy. It's the resting place also of King Umberto I, who I think was the second king, and his wife Margherita of Savoy. It was originally a Roman temple to the Roman gods built by Hadrian in the 1st century, or the 2nd century AD, and was converted in the 7th century into a Catholic church.
So we visited the National Museums of Rome, and they are so big and so kind of overwhelming, so much art, sculptures to see.
Yeah, I can't even take in all of the history, the dates. I start to read everything, and then I just can't, my brain can't take it all. So I just admire the craftsmanship, the workmanship, the scale of things. They're really incredible.
And the age of things, how old
Right.
all of these things are, and the craftsmanship from that time.
It's unbelievable.
So we're in the National Museum of Rome, which is really 4 different sites. One of them is not available right now, but we are going to visit the other 3. It's all about the history of the Roman Empire, the last century of the BC and the final 5 centuries of the Roman Empire in AD. This is a room of frescoes that adorned homes, and on the ground tiled, mosaic tiled floors from centuries ago. So this 4-walled fresco was found in a subterranean or semi-subterranean villa, or part of a villa, that was used to stay cool in the hot summertime. And it was restored and moved to this museum for display. But it's a pretty remarkable garden setting. courtyard in the center of the orange trees, shrubbery. This is the second site for the National Roman Museum called Palazzo Altemps. This is the interior courtyard in the Palazzo Altemps. I don't know how to say that, but anyway, this museum has more sculptures. Just looking up into this balcony. I don't even know if this is coming out on video or not, but hopefully we get up there because it's really ornate. So during the restoration of this building, they found ancient ruins, and these are dating from the 1st century. And the archaeologists continue to explore. This is the spot I noticed from down below in the courtyard with an amazing frescoed ceiling. This little church is in the museum, and it is a Church of the Virgin Mary and Saint Anneticus, who was also a pope. And it houses his relics or remains. So we're in the third site of the Roman National Museum. I think it's called the Baths of Diocletian. This is the big open courtyard in the center of the building. And so we're in another courtyard of the museum, the Baths of Diocletian. Some large animal head sculptures, horses and bulls, large trees in the middle, bit of a wild growth garden, and many, many, many more sculptures. Kind of overwhelmed with sculptures at this point. Pretty amazing, because they're all like thousands of years old. There's some more exotic animals over here, a rhinoceros and an elephant. On this side is horses and bulls. It's got a ram over there. Fountain with fish. So these sculptures, the bull, two bull heads, the ram's head, the horse's heads over here, were originally, they are Michelangelo sculptures that were put in this place. The rhinoceros and the elephant were added later, but the bulls, horses, the ram's head, it says a camel, but I don't know where the camel is, are all Michelangelo sculptures. So just read, this cloister, it's called the cloister, is called Michelangelo's cloister. Apparently he designed the layout of it and also many of the sculptures that are in it. And it is adjacent to one corner of a church called Our Lady of the Angels. So the Baths of Diocletian had these massive halls. Just, I don't even know how high these ceilings are, but they're massive. And I guess they use them now for exhibitions of different artists. So sculptures are just displayed here, amongst other more ancient works and modern works. And this is just one of the halls. It is, has this modern art as well as this very intricate floor mosaic.
So we hope you enjoyed this video on some of the ancient sites in Rome.
We have so much more to cover on Rome, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for traveling with Danny and MJ.
We look forward to seeing you on our next adventure.